What do you think are some mental roadblocks that still exist within our community?
Well, I'll say this: I think the black men are holding us back.
Interesting. Ooh, that's a hot take.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to hear that. We gotta.
Can you say it again a little closer to the mic, please?
Yeah, now we're talking. Yes.
Our producer Safia's like, let me sit back down and continue.
Yeah. Well, see, first of all, allow me to say, Happy International Women's Day.
Okay.
For the entire day, and the entire week, the entire year, forever, right?
God bless y'all.
So that's.
Don't know what we would do without y'all.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, my son asked me, Daddy, why do you always call countries by her, right? And I said, Xavier, well, it's birth, yeah. Right? Motherland. We never hear about fatherland. It's always about motherland, right? So, and the reason why I say about how to move the black community forward, it's really through the black male, right? And just look at the Christian perspective again. The black male's been neutered for a very long time period. And we have to find a way to make sure that we can definitely begin to empower black men to take the rightful place as leaders again. So if you look at, in our Christian beliefs, we are taught that the man is the head of the household, right? Like, not my belief, but that's what we're taught. And if you're the CEO of a company and the company fails, then whose fault is it?
CEO's fault.
Exactly, not the employee's fault,
right.
The CEO's fault, right? So the success must go through. So if you're the so-called leader of your community, we have to find ways to move the community forward as well too. And that's why you found that the black male has been totally cut off at the knees. If you look at the jail population, the second highest amount of black population in the Canadian jails are black men.
Second highest.
Second highest.
After
First Nation.
Yeah.
And we don't account for more than 3.5% of the entire total population in Canada.
That's crazy.
But yet still we are the second highest black jail population in Canada. There are other factors as well too, that I think personally, is that we're so caught up in our Eurocentric way of thinking as well too, right? Yeah. I mean, I carry my slave master's name, Forrest, very proudly. Yeah. And so who do I give glory? And the first thing I did when I became a father, I gave my children my slave master's name. So I think we have to recognize, like the word Sankofa that looks back all the time, but keeping its feet on the ground safely planted, we have to recognize that we are children of the slaves, but then are we brave enough to face the changes and make the changes along the way? Which means that simply we have to reclaim our languages, our customs, and our names. What's in a name? What's in a name? It's actually, everything's in a name. Yeah. Your entire DNA, your entire history is in a name as well too. Right. And when we look at the fact of Western slavery, our entire names have been cut off from us, that we can't even find them. Right. So we've got to make sure, put it back together as best we can. And if we can't put it back together, recreate something that's different. Right. But we're still stuck in this bubble of enjoying our slave masters' names, right? Living slave masters' house still, but not by own means along the way.
Right. So what would you say step one is? And would you say it's like understanding that heritage or reclaiming the name, or what's the next easiest step we can take? Or maybe not easy, but what's the next step?
I think it's step one is really being proud of who you are as a black person and some of your heritage, right? And where you come from. And I think Black History Month is a phenomenal step, of course, right? Because you see everyone's actually, it's mandated into law. And so in Ontario, for example, and in Canada, we should definitely utilize that platform to make sure that we celebrate ourselves. This past February, there's so many things to go out and celebrate. And I did as president of one of the schools, and it was a Catholic school, and the majority of kids were non-black. So I had to make it relevant, and recognize. So I recognize that the history of the black community is also the history of the white community as well too, because they also need to be relieved of their atrocities they perform in black communities as well too. So then I was able to make the presentation relevant as to, it's about humanity being a better place than it is right now.
Now, that's a good point about the names, because a few years ago I just had this kind of revelation, if you will, that I was like, I remember in junior high school, when there'd be like a new kid that comes to school and he was like from like West Africa and everything, people would be teasing him about his name and all that, and I was like, years later I was like, but I'm the one with the slave name now. I was like, and then, so it's just like I came to this moment, but like he has the authentic original name. I have my last name is
Someone else's.
Roberts. It's Scottish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah, definitely. I know my daughter said to me when she said, and this is when I realized it was real. The change comes through the mail. She said to me, "Dad, you know what? That's not my concern because when I get married, I get my husband's name." So if the male change their names along the way, then naturally, as we tend to realign ourselves in the Western structure, right? Although we're definitely African people for sure, where the matriarch is the center of our community. But since we're living in this Western construct, when you get married, you take on the male's name typically, right? So then, how do we actually make sure adjust our male? Because if we align our male, for example, to take the rightful place as protectors and providers, then our community will definitely be more sound along the way as well.
Right.